Hello, everybody out in interweb land. We're glad to have you tuning in again. We are coming to you live as part of Empower-thon, which is the inaugural fundraiser for the ParenTween Foundation. Now, you may know ParenTween Connection, where we connect families to each other for moral support, but we also connect them to professionals like Scott, who is one of our trusted experts, and we help them, find the resources that they need to help their families. But the ParenTween Foundation fits right nicely in the middle there with a mission to help bridge the financial gap that often exists between families and working with professionals. So first of all, Scott, thank you for being with me. I'm glad you're here with us again.
I'm glad to be here with you again. Love it.
And thank you again for stepping in to help participate in the fundraiser aspect of this. I really appreciate that.
It's amazing what you're doing. Amazing.
Hey,
Honored.
We're all doing it together. So yes, if you're tuning in, if you didn't know, this is designed to be a fundraiser because with every speaker that we bring to you, we know that you're going to get useful insights and nuggets and information that you can take back to have a stronger, more connected relationship with the teens and tweens in your life. And so we're going to ask you to say, hey, if you feel that you've gotten good stuff, say thank you by making a donation to the foundation. In all of the description of our events, in our Facebook group, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube, Scott's personal link is included. And if you are tuning in through our Facebook group, feel free to comment. We're watching the commentary, ask questions, engage in the conversation. That's one of the things that we do a little bit differently here is all of our conversations like these are live so that you can participate. So with all that, Scott, thank you. We've taken care of all the housekeeping. And so, Scott, today we're talking support versus approval.
Right.
So why don't you actually give us a little bit of a background on what this is rooted in your philosophy at MindZenMotion in terms of building all of the amazing things that you build with teenagers or with preteens.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of what are called my battle keys. So I have a couple of different courses and one of them is called the battle keys. And it's where we put one thing up against another. Today, it's approval versus support. What we're really doing is looking at the aspects of each one. And because, I work with tweens, I work with kids, I don't go on and just like sell a lot of, I don't say a lot of information and expect like the kids just to retain it. We have to make it fun. We have to make it a game. And so this is my way, the battle keys, of making it a game. And then inside of that game, it's kind of like, who's going to win this thing? Is it going to be approval? Is it going to be support? What you're doing is you're distinguishing the difference between the two. And then this gives you power because it gives you choice. So now when you go out and you do something, you kind of can't unhear it because what happens is you go, wow, is this me going for approval? Or is this me allowing support?
Got it. Well, then let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's define them. What's the difference between approval and support?
Well, instead of me just saying it there, so let's go through the battle. So thank you. You're my slide runner here today. So we'll start with this one. Okay, so all the things that I talk about are ideas. I never speak truth. Now, it's for you to believe, it's for you to interpret your own way, and it's for you to see it the way you want to see it. So this is general information open for conversation, and that's why the Facebook group and the comments are so good. So that's what I'm giving here, right? So when I talk to the kids, I tell them, look, I rarely say facts, but what I do is I give you powerful ideas to consider and use if it feels right. And most of the time it feels right. I chose this battle key. You saw in the beginning, it's battle key 2. There's 4 of them. I chose this one because this is the one that's most important for tweens, because approval becomes a big part of their life. Their whole identity, all their emotions get tied into, are they being approved? And that's why I wrote this one. And that's why this one gets a lot of the thank you. Oh my gosh, we really needed that. So that's why I wanted to do this with you guys here today. So approval, first thing we're going to say about it, it's a moving target. Here's the thing. You wear some clothes, some jeans, a hat. Last week, some kids were wearing it, so you went out to the store and got it. You need to be like that. But guess what? There's new jeans this week. And anybody who's wearing those isn't that cool. So you show up and they're like, oh my God, you're still wearing those jeans, and you don't feel good. So now all of a sudden you have to go do something else. But by the time you've done it, perhaps the target has moved again. And this is kind of a frustrating experience that never allows
Sure.
you to have any lasting joy, any lasting good feelings, because you're always worried and concerned, are you going to hit the target? So there's the first thing about approval. So far, it's not doing so well, right? And it's corner in our battle. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So inside of approval, we'll say that the result of you living a life where you're always seeking approval is hope and worry. This is the two strongest things that you will feel. I hope they approve of me. I'm worried that they won't. Do they like it? Do they like me? And it just goes over and over and over again.
Right.
Ooh, not great. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. They go fast. Okay, so I think there's one before this one. There it is. Okay, so now support. It comes to you. So approval you're going for, support's coming to you. And how does it come to you? That'll be our next slide. Doing what you love to do. So inside of the quest, often people take my first quest, which is called the power quest, the keys to unlocking your inner powers first. And they understand what they've done is they've gone through a power formula. Inside that power formula, they've set some goals through an imaginative type of thinking. And so whatever it is they've decided they love to do and they know why they love to do it, it gives them some sort of fulfillment or joy. That's why they do the thing that they do. Acting, dancing, singing. For me, it's surfing. That's why I put the surfer here. It might be school, right? Something inside school might be the
Well,
goals,
and I see
right?
I see you put the microphone up there with the dude singing because you know I like to sing.
You're right. You're right. You just had a big week of singing, I think, right?
I did. Indeed, I did.
Yeah. And so, you follow these things, and then you could attest to this because this is for adults as well. It's better if we can build this as a kid so that we could bring it into our adulthood. I certainly didn't, and I had to learn it as an adult so that I could share it and teach it. But you have support inside of your singing group. You have support inside of the audience members. For the most part, people are clapping and they want you to do well. They're not looking at you and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe what she's wearing up on stage. And then you feel bad about it and the singing doesn't even become important anymore, right?
Right.
So it's doing what you love to do is how support is garnered. It's how it comes in, right? People then show up and go, oh my gosh, you're singing in this thing? That's so incredible. When is it? Oh my, you sing? That's so good, right? People do that for me inside of coaching and the book I wrote and things like that as well. So,
Well, and I mean, we're seeing that here at ParenTween Connection as well, right? ParenTween Connection, as you know, was an idea that I had based on a conversation with a mom who was struggling with her daughter. And it was an idea. And for a long time, like you, I didn't necessarily grow up with as much of the support idea as the approval idea in my own head. And I didn't do things for a long time with ParenTween because I was like, what is everybody else going to think? Right.
oh yeah.
Whereas, especially since we launched the foundation, like I came from a background where we didn't always have the funds to go around to, for me to participate in a program like yours or to even participate in the SAT coaching that I offer.
Right.
So for the foundation, it is something I am so passionate about. And you're exactly right. It's something that I love to do. Like I love communicating. I love connecting with professionals like you and helping families find you and helping you find families. But really what drives me is like there's so many parents that just don't have the money for so many of these resources. Like I've kind of thrown caution to the wind and my Facebook and Instagram have exploded. And I'm kind of like to heck with what anybody thinks about it because it's what I love.
It's what you love to do, and that's why it's going to grow, and it's going to have that energy behind it, right? I love the energy kind of talking. It's going to have that feel behind it, whereas if you're seeking approval and you're kind of going but not all the way in, you're dipping your toes and stuff, that's the energy it'll have behind it. You'll get the results based on that. So because you're all in, the results will show it, and I've seen that in my own life, and I share that with kids as well.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we know that doing what you love is how you get support to start showing up. And then this is inside your own unique journey. So when we talk about approval, often we're trying to be like others. but this is your unique journey. Now, that doesn't mean you're the only one dancing, singing, doing what it is you're doing. It just means you've chosen it for your reasons, and then you join it. Others have joined are doing it for their reasons. And look, you're supporting them, they're supporting you. Now, that's a different feeling than everybody approving and judging each other, right? It's just a completely different way of living. And so once you get it, you go try it out, you never want to go back, and you never will, right? Approval will be lost forever, or at least it will be weakened and it won't get any strength from you, because you know the difference, right? You pick your unique journey, you know what it does for you, you start doing it, you see other people showing up, you love giving to people, you love getting from people, and it's an amazing feeling. So that's support. You know, it happens inside your own unique journey. And that's why it's so important for us to, in that power formula that I was talking about earlier, one of the things we do is we talk about the ingredients that make up us, the characteristics. So we find out what is unique about us, what are our strengths, what kind of characteristics do we want to adopt, and which ones are we kind of doing that we don't want to do anymore. They're not carrying us forward at all. We got to get rid of those, right? We got to weaken those. So
well, and it's interesting. I'm thinking, you know, in terms of talking to like those teens and the preteens, it almost feels like in introducing these concepts, we could talk about like, you know, whom they approve of, if you will, and whom they want to support, you know, and what are the differences in those other people. So like, if you look at it as outside yourself, sometimes it's easier to see outside yourself and then bring the introspection in, right? And be like, okay, well, what can I do? And so I like that you identify that there's a difference between being a unique journey, but you're not necessarily the only one on a similar journey. Like you're not the only surfer out there. Right. But you're in your own place and you're developing or continuing developing surfing skills that is your own pathway within that construct, right? But I imagine that just like we have a community within our chorus or in our singing organization, that there's a community among surfers too, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, especially where I live here in San Diego, in North County, San Diego, it's all about surfing. And there's both, right? There's the aspects of, you know, people, you know, judging, you know, your surfboard and judging your wetsuit and judging everything, right? Are you approved? Are you not? How you rode the wave? But there's also, you know, that beautiful thing, which is the way surfing should be, is where people are like cheering for each other, right? People are talking to each other, how long you've been surfing, you know, stuff like that. So you see a little bit of both and you kind of decide, where do you want to be? Because if you're out there judging, but you want people to support you, it's not going to happen. You can't say to somebody, oh my gosh, that wetsuit is so old and so last year. And they go, wow, you're really an amazing surfer. This just doesn't work that way. Right? And so you have to put yourself in the place that you want to be, which means you're supporting others so that you can get the support. And oftentimes people wait until they're being supported to support, but you can actually start it up, ignite it by just supporting and bringing yourself to that place.
Absolutely.
Well. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Carry on.
Carry on. All right. This is just a beautiful picture of what it would look like support versus approval, right? This is what support looks like. We got your back, basically. Yeah. I got your back, right? So go ahead. All right. So here's some other words for approval. Again, ideas. Approval means I'm judging you or being judged, right? Judging means I'm deciding. Is it good? Is it bad? Right? Yes, no. Do I like it? Do I not like it? That's, you know, I'm like, you know, have all this power. And I only get that power if you give it to me. Mm-hmm. You allow me to judge, and it makes a difference to you. You'll change because of my I have a lot of power over you. Why do I have that? Why'd you give that to me, right? Who am I? Support is giving. So approval is judging. Support is actually giving something. Giving means helping. And helping, when people help you, it's growth, right? You actually grow as a person. You get better at what you're doing. True support that comes from love will show you what you need to do to be better. And because you know it's support, right? You can feel that support. You have that relationship. You want to do what they say. You want to do the thing that they see because you know where it's coming from.
Right. Well, and it almost strikes me too that this has a parallel to the concepts of fixed mindset and growth mindset.
For sure. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
That the approval and the judging is very fixed. Like this is what it is, and the decision is made, and nothing is ever going to change. Whereas
supporting and giving and growing is growth mindset of like, hey, there's possibility that exists.
Yeah, for me and
So,
for everybody. Yeah.
mhm.
So the thing about approval, and the reason it has so much strength in the world for kids and teens, but really for everybody, is it's very immediate. We like that very immediate thing, right? Oh my gosh, they
Yeah.
like me. I feel so good.
Yeah, the
Right.
immediate gratification, the immediate feedback.
But it's weak, right? And we don't
Mhm.
know which way it's going to go, thumb up or thumb down. But it's very, very weak because it moves, right? So let's go to the other one. So let's look at, if approval is immediate and weak, support builds, it grows, and it's strong, right? It's the foundation. I always talk about the roots of the tree have to be strong for the tree to stay standing. Well, that's what it is, right? We're building roots. By you doing something and allowing it to be a little slower, it's stronger.
Mm-hmm.
The people who love you and are supporting you have a lot stronger foundation for you and what you're up to than people who are approving you. And all of a sudden they go, that's cool, that's good, but that goes away, right? And then the building
Right.
collapses, the tree falls down, right? It's gone. And you have to start over with something new. So approval comes and goes, like I just said, right? Yes, no, support stays and lasts. There's a big difference, right? As
Yeah.
long as you're up to something, you don't quit it or give up. Support's going to be there for you. When I grew up, I was a swimmer. I swam all my life. The support was the other swimmers. We had a group of people who swam. We swam every day after school. On the weekends, we went to swim meets. We cheered for each other when we were racing. That was cool, right? That was support.
Yep.
And as long as I was on that swim team, that support existed, right? If you leave the swim team, which I eventually did, you can't have that support, but you can get it in other things that you're up to.
Yeah.
But you understand
Absolutely.
the concept of being up to something that people can support.
Right.
Approval is inconsistent. This is good this way. No, wait, no, this is good this way. Nope, that's not good anymore, right? It's just inconsistency. You really don't know which way to go, but you're chasing it. Right? Is it this?
Like
Is
when
it
you're
that?
like, that is so last week.
Yeah, right. That was
Right.
last week, and it's like, yeah, exactly. So support tends to be consistent, and it's good, and it gets better and better and better, right? The more you support others, the more they support you. The more you do the thing that you're
Mhm.
doing, like for me, it was swimming, the more support you get, right? The faster I got, the more I practiced in my swimming and then in my water polo, the more support I got from my coaches and teammates who were up to the same thing, right? If
Yeah.
there were teammates who were like had just one toe in and they're kind of like always complaining about swimming, I might not have gotten their support, but
Right.
that's okay because they were trying to improve. They're like, ooh, do you really want to go to swimming? It's not that cool anymore. And then I have to decide in that moment, am I going to my support or am I going to approval? And it's a tough decision sometimes. It depends on
It
who the
totally
people
is.
are.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so
Absolutely.
important that when we create our goals, we really know why we've created and what we're doing, because it'll be stronger. It'll keep leading us towards where the support exists, the better life.
And you know, I'm thrilled that you mentioned goals here because the conversation that we had immediately before our conversation was with Lindsay McCarthy, who is the co-author of Miracle Morning for Parents and Families. And one of the things that she was talking about was having weekly goals with the kids. And we talked about how, like, what 3% of the population actually writes goals and how many of us actually have them in our families. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. It's a good tie back to what she and I were talking about too. So
it is. And what makes those goals so strong? Actually, last week I was teaching in a middle school, and I think I blew this one girl's mind because we were doing the goal power formula. And we write down who I have to be, what characteristics or ingredients should I bring to the goal that I want. And then we say, why do I want it? Oftentimes kids get a little stuck on the why because they don't understand. But as we explain it, it goes from your head to your heart. And it's the feeling that you get when you think about that thing that you want to keep. And that's what fuels it, or that's the strength behind it. And so in that conversation, she said she wanted to write a book. She said she wanted to write a book. And I go, wow, that's amazing. What's your book? And I said, why? And after a little bit of working it out, she goes, because I really want to make a difference in people's lives. I go, oh, you want to write a book that makes a difference in people's lives? And she could just see, like, she changed, like her face and everything changed. Like she was getting that like really good emotional feeling. And I go, consider this. You actually writing a book isn't the thing you really want. The thing you want is to make a difference in people's lives. And you're going to write a book because you're a good writer. That's one of your skill sets, right? And so you're a good writer so that you can fulfill on what you really want, to help people. And it was like, right? And so that's the one step deeper that often people don't go to. They go, oh, I want to go to this college. Why? Oh, I don't know, because my parents want me to go to that college. Well, that's not going to strengthen. You're not going to, that's where you're going to go more towards the approval people, because you don't have a strong reason to go hard towards what you really want so that you get that support.
So that's where you come in with the approval being like kind of takes you here, there, and everywhere. Kind of like if you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you've gotten there? Whereas support is more directional toward a goal or an end game or a something, right? Some kind of accomplishment.
Yeah, some kind of accomplishment, right? Absolutely. It's directional, and the direction's chosen by you. So we said approval goes this way and that way and this way and that way and up and down and sideways, but this is single direction. It's towards what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and you chose that direction.
I have to bring in, this is one of my favorite books of all time. Oh, The Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. And this made me think of it because there's a phrase that says you've got brains in your head, you've got feet in your shoes, you can guide yourself any direction you choose.
Jeez, that is awesome.
And so that's kind of like, if I ever have a headstone, perhaps that's what should go on.
A Dr. Seuss headstone. Well, what's going to be amazing coming up here soon is another Dr. Seuss book that I referred to in this. So it's so funny that you just did that. You'll see awesome. Coming soon.
Well, it makes sense that approval kind of just, it's like the wind takes you whichever way it wants you to go, and you're kind of like flailing.
Yeah, it's what they say. The wind is whatever they say. The approvers, the ones you gave the power to, right? It blows. Support blows you one way. It's your way. You chose the way, and it's pushing you, right? So one is just moving you around. And this is my favorite analogy, right? So approval looks like the roller coaster. You start in one place, you go up, down, you go all around, you go this way, you go that way. There's some excitement because you got approved, but there's also some bad feelings because you didn't get approved. And then you end up right where you started from. You actually went nowhere, and you're going to start again. And pretty soon you're going to get pretty sick of this, pretty nauseous, but you don't know any other way. You don't know how to get off. So life does not feel good. The river, however, starts with one drop, snow melting, right? Another drop gets together. Now it's got a little bit of force. This is the support coming in, and now it's going down the stream, and it's going one direction. And where is it going to end up? At a goal, at the ocean, right? That's where the water ends up. And it gets faster and faster and faster and pushes harder and harder and harder. That's support. That's what you want to do. Have that river experience in your life. So yeah, you can move on. So approval is this. This is, a really good picture to show other people are controlling your actions, your movements, your feelings, and your emotions, and you're allowing them to. Right? They're the puppeteer, and you're the puppet. So see that support is you run it. You're the boss. It's your company. You are your own company. You run it. You say what's being supported, and people come. You don't demand support. They come to you. They want to support you. It's like I used to have a company that had 15 employees, and I tried to create the best I could, a supportive one. Instead of telling them what to do, I gave them the framework and encouraged them to do it. And they wanted to do it because they saw what was available by supporting the company, right? So inside of your own company, being your own boss of you decide what is it that we do, like what is it I do, right? And then let people come and support you. I couldn't have ran my company by myself, right? So, and then there was always employees who approved, like, this company, I can't believe they do that. Well, they didn't last long.
Right?
So anyway, you support, you run, you're the boss. Support is for you. This is very important. Support is for you.
Yeah.
Approval is for them.
Right.
Think about that. Your support is for you. Approval, you're doing it for them. Isn't that crazy? When you think about that, again, you're just kind of comparing the two distinctions. So you can go, man, what do I want in my life? I said this earlier, peer pressure is approval to do a certain way, be a certain way, but support. How about peer power? The power of peers together making something happen. I like that better than peer pressure, don't you? Once you know the difference.
And it strikes me that, I imagine there's going to be families who are listening to this with their kiddos, right? So like, if you're the kiddo that maybe feels like you are going after approval, and let's be honest, all of us do at some point, every single one of us, from like toddlerhood to like being, senior citizens, right? But to your point of giving, that support is giving, what if as us as individuals, we said, like you and I, Scott, said, hey, you know what? I really like this thing that's important to us. I want to go support it. Maybe it's like the foundation, or it's another nonprofit, or it's going and making food for the homeless or something like that, or the unhoused is the proper term, right? Like, but you and I go, and if you and I are both like seeking approval from other people, but you and I band together and decide, hey, why don't we do this project where we can support something outside of ourselves? Man, that's powerful, because then the people around us become more drawn to us. And to your point, it starts with giving, not necessarily giving to the person that we're hoping for approval from, right? But giving to give, that support will come back around.
Think about, the example you just said, where you're thinking, because where your mind goes, the energy flows to. So what you're thinking about is either the organization that you put yourself with, like maybe this, or homeless shelter, or food, right? Or you're thinking about, do people think it's cool I'm doing this? And now your mind has gone off of what it is that you're actually doing. So are you really doing anything? Kind of, maybe physically, but if you put everything into it, that's the difference between diving in or putting your toe in and hoping everybody goes, oh, that's so amazing, you're putting your toe in, right? It's like, no, I'm in, and all my thought is over here, and you don't even recognize people are coming this way until they're there. So
Exactly.
Yeah, great example.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
peer power.
All right.
We're almost done here. So we go. So support is them for you,
Right.
and approval is you going for it. Okay, so go back. Support, them for you. Approval, you're going for it. Whatever the approval thing is, whatever the thing is, you're chasing it, right? That's what this is. Okay.
Yeah.
So approval, if you get it, that's great. So we're not saying like approval is all bad, because if somebody goes, it's awesome what you're doing, we don't want to be like, I don't want to be approved. We're just not seeking it, right? We're not seeking it. It's not where our mind is. It's not where our thoughts are going. But it comes. It's fine. We have to allow support to happen. We have to
Tell
let
me
people
more about
come
that.
in. Well, you got to let people come in and support you, right? So if you're up to something and somebody wants to be there, you can't like close the door on them, right? And oftentimes I think that happens when you don't have the confidence, or you don't feel like you deserve to go for or be there. So you don't want other people to kind of like get in there, because you don't want to let them down, something like that.
Oh,
so we
absolutely.
have to, right? So we have to allow support by getting rid of those thoughts, and just people want to support. Like, I love supporting this cause that you have. I love it when people come and support me and what I'm doing. Even if that support shows up with like a friend of mine, quick story, who told me that someone, like the way I was marketing the courses, it wasn't good. But I know this girl, and I know her heart is, I want this to get out to as many kids as possible. So she wanted me to kind of set it up a little differently. She's an Instagram marketing girl. And so full on support, which showed me something. And that's where I really started pushing the raising the vibration in the Kid Nation.
Yeah, I noticed that change.
Yeah, a little switch there, because she showed me, she said, positivity. People want to join something positive, right? They don't always see the negative, like my kid's scared and my kid's confidence is low, right? Those might be outcomes of something else, but that's a low vibration. Why don't we talk about raising the vibration? Who wants to join a Kid Nation that raises the vibration versus who wants to like say, oh, my kid's not confident, he needs help? It's a very different entryway. So I allow the support. There's my Dr. Seuss. Okay. So Sneetches, right? There's the star-bellied Sneetches, and they won't talk to the ones without the stars on their bellies. So what happens is the guy comes in with a truck, and he recognizes an opportunity for money. And he goes, oh my gosh, here's what I can do for you guys. For $1 each, you can go in my machine. You'll get a star. They're like, great. That way we'll get approved by the star-bellied Sneetches. So they go through the machine and they get stars on dollars. And once they get the stars on dollars, they go, yay, we're just like you. And the original startup sneakers have a meeting. They go, we can't have that. The guy goes, go through my machine. I can take the stars off. They pay them $1 to go through the machine, get the stars taken off. And now not having the stars becomes the cool thing. So the ones who got the stars on to try to be cool now go through the machine, pay another $1 to get them off. And it goes round and round until they finally figure out that the stars make no difference, right? So this is what happens, is that it's like, oh, stars are cool. Let me go pay $1,000 million and go get a star. Oh my God, stars aren't cool. How do I get my star off, right? How do I, what's the next thing I need? So I think Dr. Seuss, in both the books that we used, really recognized what happens out in the world. He was a master at making it, fun and accessible.
And I think Dr. Seuss, I mean, I know that, there's a statue to Theodore Geisel down at UCSD, right? Like in your backyard.
Yeah.
I know you have the term edutainment for what you do, but my goodness, he did that as well, wouldn't you say? Right? Like such amazing lessons that came out of so many of the Dr. Seuss books. I'm almost 45 years old and I'm still referencing freaking Cat in the Hat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's timeless.
You're exactly right that we learn when we have fun. So I love that about what you do and the way that you approach all of this.
I appreciate that. All right, so you
have
have
look,
dogs.
It looks like my dog.
Does it? There's your dog. So approval.
Chasing the tails.
Always chasing your tail. Never really catch it, right? You're always chasing something. Support comes to you. Come here, boy. I'm up to something. I got a treat for you, right? And this is really super important. Not everyone are your people.
Yeah.
Do your thing and allow people to show up as your people, but don't try to make everyone, don't have that be your goal. Try to get everyone to love you. That will be a tough one. And then also, next slide, remember, very important, you're not everyone's people.
Right.
Right? You're not. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Look, not every person's going to love the parent-teen connection. It's okay. Doesn't matter. There's enough people who understand and get it, right? And you do, but
100%.
But if your focus and energy was on trying to get everyone to love you, you would miss the whole boat of the people who do love you and giving them the attention. So this is really important for kids, for everybody to remember, you're not everyone's people.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a few times, supporting gains support. Support others, let that be the thing that starts it off for you. So a couple quick quotes to finish this off. Don't be mad at others sucking the life out of you if you keep giving them the straw.
Is that a Scott Feld original?
I wish. No, it's not. I don't remember where I got that, so I don't have a name. So we'll just go anonymous for now.
Okay, fair enough.
I know, but and then finally, don't let others dim your light. Don't let others say where your light should shine, but allow others to help brighten your light.
I like that.
Nice. Be you, do you, so support can find you.
Because it's interesting that, you don't get support when you're not authentic. You don't get the same kind of support. And it's, if you get any, it's shoddy and pretty short-lived.
It's weak. Just weak.
Yeah.
So support's the winner in this battle.
Oh, no, absolutely it is.
It's a knockout.
So beyond, I mean, you've given us and you've given the kids, hopefully, who end up watching this with their parents, some really good stuff to think about in their own worlds. If you could offer parents one or two tidbits of ways to really make sure that they're, pun not intended, supporting their kiddos in going after things or going into activities or environments where they're more likely to get this kind of support, what would you say?
Well, so it always comes back to, what are you going to be supported in? Because if you're just out there flailing in the world or you're trying for approval, the first thing to do is set that goal. Right? And it could be a one-day goal, a one-week goal, a one-month goal, a year goal, a more future goal, but have these goals set so that support can show up. And so now their attention turns from trying to get approval for anything and everything to the thing that they're up to. And then as a parent, be the first approval source. I mean, the first support source. I know. Be the first support source for them.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I can see you're up to this. How can I support you? Or is this a good way to support you? It'll be in a connection, depending on, how big this approval thing is and what age they are and how ingrained it is. That, the journey to it might take longer. It might not be instantaneous. For others, and ones that I've actually coached, it's fairly instantaneous. They now get it. They set their goals. They don't look for approval anymore. Their life has changed forever. This isn't a small thing. This is a big thing. The fact that I make it fun is so that it will get to the people, because it's how important it is. It'll get to the kids.
Absolutely. And it's one of those that, you know, they say like anytime we shoot a rocket or a spaceship or whatever, or even when we're driving, like, right, we're constantly adjusting. We're never actually traveling in a straight line.
Yeah.
It's always minute adjustments all the way along. But man, this is one that will feel minute when they're younger, that will completely change the trajectory of their lives.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Clarissa.
Yeah.
That was the last slide.
Scott, thank you so much for always showing up, for doing what you do for kids and the way that you do it, for being part of Trusted Expert Network here at ParenTween Connection, for offering your time. So moms, dads, grandparents, as you're listening in, shameless plug, reminder that this conversation is part of Empower-a-thon. It's our inaugural Empower-a-thon. It's our first fundraiser to launch the ParenTween Foundation. We just got our charitable status from the IRS in January timeframe. So we're, ramping up to start doing more things that aren't just like shameless plugs asking for money, but that are actually offering value to you. So if you got value out of this, one of the best ways that you can say thank you to Scott for his time today is by making a donation. The link to use to attribute your donation to him is in all of the descriptions on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. And on YouTube, actually. So we'll also go back and make sure that link is on all of the recordings everywhere. So, Scott, thank you as always for being a valued member of our team. And I
want to say one more quick thing is that I'm going to make a $50 donation. So if you can, I challenge you to match it. And if you can't match it, do what you can the best. But I'll make the $50 donation towards this.
I appreciate that, Scott. Very, very, very much. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Keep in mind, Empower-a-thon is running all the way through Father's Day here in the U.S., which is the 18th of June. We're aiming to bring you as many presenters as we can. Our goal is 100. We're at about 55 or 60 scheduled right now. So we do have some speaking opportunities. So if you know anyone who's interested, you can find me anywhere pretty much on our website. But we're looking to bring as much value and support to you. And again, say thank you with a donation. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you, Scott.
Yep. Thank you.